Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm on the 2024 BSA 650 Goldstar. Now BSA has got an offer on these bikes and they're selling now brand new for £5,499. I think that's possibly an absolute bargain for a retro modern classic. So let's find out if this bike's any good. So sit back, relax and come along for the ride. So I've had this bike for a couple of weeks and I'll be honest, it's been really difficult to get out on it because the weather has been an absolute nightmare. Today it looks like a pretty decent day. We've avoided a few of the local floods and the sun is shining, so what more do you want? And it seems the perfect environment to ride this bike down the country twisty lanes. So this is the first time I've actually ridden a big 652cc single cylinder engine, and I've got to say the power delivery on it's pretty smooth. I mean, the roads are quite bumpy and the suspension definitely feels like it's got a little bit of bounce. I'm also joined today by my pillion passenger Amy B, so she's going to give you a little pillion perspective on what it's like to be on the back of one of these things. But I'm absolutely loving the power delivery on this engine. It's a Rotax engine that's built by Mahindra in India, and the quality is definitely there on the engine. So it's great that BSA are back. They've been around for a couple of years now and they had a few little niggles when they first got started. Probably wasn't the best time to start setting up production of these bikes. So the engine is producing 45 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPM, which you might think is a little bit underpowered for a 652cc engine, but it's got 55 Newton meters of torque at 4,000 RPM. So when you twist that throttle, this bike really does pull, and it's nice and smooth. The clutch and the gearbox feels nice and light, and the bike has also got Brembo brakes front and rear. Weight wise, the bike's weighing in at 213 kilo, that's wet weight, so you do need some braking with a bit of bite to get this thing to stop. I mean, suspension wise it does feel a little bit spongy. That might have something to do that we're actually twos up on this bike as well. So if it was me personally, I'd probably think about swapping it out, which is not actually a big cost. It's got a 5-speed box, although I do keep going for a 6th gear. I mean, you can definitely feel the weight on the bike as you drop into the corners. It takes a little bit of getting used to. But the one thing it has got is a real nice tone to the exhaust. It sounds absolutely beautiful. It's like they've absolutely perfected that kind of original sound. It's got all the characteristics of a classic bike. So performance wise, I'm really impressed with the bike. I just think it's absolutely ample. Why would you want any more? I think if you was riding quicker all the time, you'd lose the feel of the bike, you'd lose the enjoyment of the ride. So whilst I've got nobody behind me, I'm just going to give it a bit of a brake test. I mean, you can really feel that front suspension compressed down, but the brakes are pretty decent, to be honest. I mean, don't forget, we've got a lump of a bike at 213 kilos and I've got Amy on the back as well. This bike's definitely got some reasonable stopping power. So ergonomically, the bike feels really comfortable. At 5'9", I don't feel cramped up on the bike because it's quite a low seat height, and the seat is really comfortable. It's quite weird because when you get down to first gear and you press it down once more, you feel like there should be something else there, but there's not. It does take a little bit of getting used to. It does feel a little bit weird to start with, but it's not a complaint, it's only an observation. Box look really nice on the bike as well. They're definitely well finished, and I love the fact they kind of look like they're upside down, which the way the needle runs, it doesn't kind of start from the top, it starts from like number 1, let's say. So they kind of run underneath, which I believe is kind of like the quirkiness of how they were originally back in the BSA days. I think it's really nice. Again, they've kept that character of the bike. I think the mirrors are quite nice, they're quite sturdy, they don't look cheap. There's a little bit of vibration as you'd expect with these big thumper engines, but it's not off-putting. I've got a bit of visibility, I can just kind of see my elbows, but I can still see the cars behind me. So you can just see with this dash up the front here, it's got the neutral light on, which I might say finding neutral on the bike is really easy as well. I know 1 or 2 people have mentioned about the switch gear being a little bit cheap and plasticky, and yeah, I mean, it's not premium. This is now a £5,500 motorcycle, brand new. And can I add, you get a 4-year warranty now with this bike for peace of mind. So just on the clocks there, we've got a couple of gauges. We've got a fuel gauge, which is kind of fairly visible. It's quite small, but I can still kind of see it. And on the left one, we've also got a trip meter as well, which is operated on this little button here near the kill switch. On the little dash here, we've got a few lights to give you kind of like your neutral light, your indicator light, side stand, things like that. Again, it's one of those bikes that you just kind of want to enjoy the ride. I mean, it's well capable of doing probably 100 miles an hour, but I think that'll just spoil the ride. So using that kind of rev range where the torque comes in from about 4,000 RPM probably up to about kind of 6,000, it's just about ample, I think, for that enjoyable ride. So once you get on that gas and you build them revs up and get to about 6,000 RPM, that's where you start to feel the vibration through the bike a little bit. But to be honest, you don't need to be revving it that hard to get this bike to pull. To me, it's all about enjoying the ride. So Amy's in her element here, look, at the petting zoo. We've just been for a bite to eat in there. He's a bit fat, isn't he? They're supposed to be that fat. It's probably because all the people you can buy food and feed these animals here, and you've got like I think this is an alpaca. I don't know the difference between a llama and an alpaca. Hey, you wait till it jumps over. Did he just try to butt you? Hello. Hello. Go stroke that one. These are the ones that spit, ain't they? It's as tall as you. So the other thing with the bike as well, you get quite a substantial key that goes in. Feels nice and chunky. But yeah, so far, love riding this bike. It's just been an absolute pleasure on days like this, skirting around the country lanes. See what it does when I fire this bike up. Yeah, you don't seem too bothered. And we are off. So here we have it, the BSA, an absolute beautiful, modern, classic retro bike for 2024. They relaunched this bike in 2022. The BSA stands for Birmingham Small Arms, and it's nice to see it back. So I'm really impressed with this 652cc single cylinder engine. It's carrying 45 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 55 Newton meters of torque. When you get on that throttle, this bike has got some nice pull, but it's not vibey. So suspension wise on the bike, we've got non-adjustable 41mm telescopic forks on the front, and on the rear we've got twin shocks with adjustable 5-step preload only. So for the brakes on the front, we've got a single 320mm disc with a twin piston Brembo caliper. And on the rear, we've got a single 255mm single piston Brembo caliper. The tyre sizes on this bike, on the rear we've got a 150 B70 B17, and on the front we've got a 100 B90 B18. So electronic wise, this bike's only running ABS on the front, and to be honest, that's kind of all it needs. It's also running the Pirelli Phantom Sports Comp tyres, which actually suit the bike quite well. They're quite a chunky tyre that gives it kind of like that retro look. I'm loving the BSA logo on the bike, it really does suit it. I know there's been a few complaints with kind of like the engine coverings and stuff, but this is the Dawn Silver edition, which actually matches with the paint colour on the tank, which I think personally really does suit the bike. I love the fact that it's still running the old school halogen bulb, and it's got little touches like this with the BSA logo in. The indicators, again, real retro looking. I like the fact that they're not too big, they're not too intrusive on the bike. It's got that coat of arms logo. You've got a real nice tone to the exhaust. And I believe you can take the baffle out here. It's quite a big baffle if you just want to get more of a deeper sound to it. We found the seat really comfortable today. It's got a nice BSA embossed logo in the back. And the engine casing on this side does match the tank rather nice. It's got the black stripe along the tank, which I think, like I said, aesthetically it looks very pleasing to the eye. On the handlebars here, we've got a USB and a USB-C charger. We've also got a 12-volt charging cigarette type socket. So tank size is 12 litres on this bike, and it'll do a nice 70 miles to the gallon. So seat height wise, I'm going to use Amy here as an example just to show you how low this seat is. 780mm. How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4", and she's got her feet flat on the ground. So even if you're a little bit shorter in the leg, you're still going to be able to manage this bike all right. It is a bit weighty at 213 kilos, but once you get moving, that weight just disappears. As always, we like to get that pillion perspective from Amy, because she's been the one sat on the back today. How's it been for you?
It's really comfortable. I could sit on that seat all day long. It's like an armchair.
Yeah, I have to agree with you as well. And again, it's one of those, you know, I'd like to say I'm a bit too young to remember the BSAs, although I do go to the classic bike shows, and it really does resemble the original bike that I've seen from kind of like the 50s. So again, I think aesthetically they've done really well just to recreate that design with the modern technology. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with this bike. I've enjoyed it more than what I actually thought I would. And I think the other thing is, you know, with that £1,000 off, £5,500 for one of these bikes, they're giving a 4-year warranty. And the other thing, they've rolled it out in quite a few dealerships now. I think I counted online 26 up to now. And I think their plans are still to kind of start producing them in the UK as well, possibly in Birmingham when they find the right premises. Whether that's still on the cards or not, I don't know. But so far, I've really enjoyed the bike, and that's what it's all about for me. It's all about the fun factor. And if it was me and I wanted a modern retro classic at that sort of price, I think this bike would be the one. So guys, I hope you liked the video today, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Give us a like, and I'll see you in the next one.